Getting back to Boston for a bit, despite the fact that he has been there 32 straight years and ran his personal best time of 2:39 there, the Boston Marathon isn't his favorite race. He's not so crazy about the course and doesn't think it's all that exciting. He's run the Marine Corps Marathon in DC 20 times and loves the old-world European-style architecture that you'll find in Ottawa, Canada over the course of its marathon, which he's been to 13 times. But it seems the marathon he loves the most is in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia. Sullivan agrees with people who've said there's just something different about that marathon. The crowds turn out for this one just like they do in Boston, plus the city has gotten behind the race in a big way and doesn't put up a fight because roads have to be closed. You get to see everything from the Ben Franklin Parkway, downtown through Center City, Chinatown, the Historic District, Old City, the Shopping District, Drexel and UPenn, the zoo, and the parks. From a logistical standpoint, it's easy because it's easy to get around and the hotels are downtown near the start and finish. All those reasons are why Mark kept going back again and again. But how much of a streak he had developed and its significance to the race itself never occurred to him. The Philly Marathon has since formed a legacy runners club with leg in capital letters. Sullivan has the coat to show he's a member at the 25-year mark, one of two. Philly has also created 15 and 20-year levels, but they don't have to be consecutive or current like Boston. It's also where Mark got the cutout hanging on his wall. The race made them for him and the other 25-year runner and had them to greet runners at the expo before last year's race. Mark tells us that a lot has changed with marathons from that first one in 1986 to his latest. Not so much from a performance level. He says marathons tend to have a much larger peak performance window than a shorter race like a 5K. Sullivan says there's a 10-year window of improvement for the race, and that if you're smart, do the right things, and don't burn yourself out, you can extend that. Races in general have also gotten bigger. Mark's first year at Boston, there were 9,000 runners, and now it's 36,000. There's also a greater need for marathons because more people are running them, and that's why they're flourishing. It's no longer a race just for serious athletes. Many people are doing them just to say they finished one. Then they do them again, and some do multiple ones in a year, which was unheard of back when Mark started. The technology has also gotten better for the races. They've moved well beyond a stopwatch to a very light chip timer that they attach to the back of your number, and it registers your time to a computer as you go across mats throughout the course. That has made the race fairer for the people at the back of the pack who sometimes don't reach the starting line until 2 or 3 minutes after the starter's gun goes off. Mark's experience with all of this over the years and the explosive growth in the number of runners tackling this race led to a side job for him that was born out of necessity. People saw his numbers and the success he was having and began to ask him for help.
And I started studying physiology, started studying, anatomy, and so much was really interesting to me in that. And I thought, boy, this is fascinating. So I kind of was using some of the techniques I was learning or developing on myself, trying different things. And when I laid it out and started to actually think it out at the procedure of my training, because before I would just go through a process. I'll just do this, I'll do that, and then I got there. And I was having success, but I thought, gee, if I would make wiser choices, maybe I can get better results. And so I formulated plans, and I realized that by doing so, I was able to get much better success. And that's what really enabled me to run more marathons safely, effectively, and to run strong. And so I had a couple people who were saying, well, I need help with this, and I'd give them some advice, and they say, oh, that worked great for me. What else can you do? And then I'd get people, would you consider coaching me? So it was that kind of thing. I kept thinking, well, I don't want to get into that. But then, as I mentioned to you about going to Edmonton, it was around that time back in near my 100th marathon, somewhere around that time. That was really, I'd say I picked up in earnest because people were asking for it. So that time I started coaching part-time and doing mostly via internet. That's what I was doing. And so now that's what I do. I coach people. I have I have people who I coach locally who I will meet with in person, and I deal with them by phone and by email and whatever other means we have to. When I can't meet with in person, I have people who are out of the area where I basically deal on the internet, would correspond through emails, texts, etc., by phone. I will occasionally FaceTime them, that kind of thing. And then I have people who are, really out there that strictly by that I've never met, and I've dealt with them from long range. I have a couple people that I've coached long distance. I have a woman I coached from Australia, and I have a woman I coached from Paris, and I have a runner now who's doing a lot of international marathons. She just finished Tokyo. Shortly before that, she was in Vietnam running a marathon. So yeah, I have people I coach with, but a lot of Canadian clients too. A lot of people I've met from Canada and the races I go up there who have asked me to help them with their running, and I'm very happy to be able to do that. I feel very blessed in my running. I feel that I've been blessed with the ability to run, good health, and some knowledge, and so I want to share it when I can. So I do try to coach people as I can, help them to meet their goals.
Mark has been coaching almost 25 years. At any given time, there are a dozen people turning to him for help through one of his monthly programs. He helps them find what he terms a good recipe of training regimens to reach their goals. Ironically, his other job as a graphic designer and illustrator has turned at times down the same course in that he does a lot of work for races. It's something that, like coaching, developed organically through the people he meets at races. He worked with one race developer to bring a Santa race in Canada to Vermont, and then created an iconic chili pepper for another race.
Mark says the plan is to keep doing marathons as long as he can. Once again, his website, IRuniCoach.com.